Hello, how are you? Welcome to another GoTo Facebook series edition, our GoTo Biz Pros and Peers. And we're really excited today to have with us Dragonfly Gourmet Food. You can see the products in front of us here. Thank you so much for joining us. The GoTo Facebook Live series that the Ennovation Center is doing is about business resources and excellent business resources throughout the Kansas City community. So we're really excited that you've joined us today because as entrepreneurs, as business owners, I think it's real important for, and we've heard from the audience, they want to hear from their peers in the industry. And we've really, as Ennovation Center clients, we've really seen you all stand out in your business and market growth, and you are always focused on quality. And then we just are so excited about you all as for your passion for entrepreneurism too. So thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so well, we appreciate it. So first, we're focused on actually providing good tips to business, but we also want to learn a little bit about your product. So how did you all get into this? What drove you into owning your own business, and then also what drives you to promote product into the marketplace?
So I'm a chef. Whenever I was in culinary school, I actually became sick with a mysterious illness. So I had to I wasn't able to work for a few years. While I wasn't able to work, I canned a lot. Gardening was something that I could actually do, and in order to preserve all of my fresh vegetables, I decided to can them. Mm-hmm. And I started to give them to my friends and family and things like that. As I became better, Quentin kind of pushed me to sell them and to actually use my talent to profit off of it. So with his business degree and my culinary background, we started this company.
Yeah. That's
very cool. And so when did you become established?
In 2014.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was thinking 2 or 3 years into the marketplace. Yes. And so you, as a food company growing, of course, like you said, you've got that background, so you've got that knowledge base, and you know how to do that. Yours is a gourmet artisanal. So about the product itself, you're looking at whole foods and freshness, and that's kind of your cornerstone of your quality marketplace.
Yes. So we strive ourselves to, we do not have any additives or any preservatives in our products. It is all canned the old-fashioned way, the way that your grandmother would have canned it. We like to say that you can read every ingredient on our label and understand what it is. So that's what we strive to do. We also strive with freshness. So a lot of times, especially with cucumbers, you have number 2s, and a lot of people use number 2 cucumbers to pickle. We do not. We only use the freshest and the best quality of vegetables and ingredients that we can find.
Yeah. So as a company and as a person that took your passion and really a necessity to be able to preserve and to push that into the business marketplace, as you've learned that you have market demand, that means you have to produce more.
Yes.
And so then you have market demand, so your batches get bigger. How have you found ways that might be helpful to others that are going through that same process to maintain quality and to do that quality while you're meeting the marketplace?
Yeah, so I think, like when we first started, when we came in here, if we made 90 to 100 jars, we were like, oh my gosh. Look at that, man. We're cruising.
Right.
And so now when we come in, we're looking at making like 600 jars, depending on what we're making.
Sure.
So for us, it was a lot of finding a place where we can get more for less, because as we've grown and as we've bought more, we also have to take into account the cost. Mm-hmm. And so providing that to the market meant we needed to make sure our cost wasn't, outrageous for the consumers. And so we've really worked hard on finding places where we can get things at the quality that we still like, that we still want, while maintaining a decent a price and cost for our customers as well.
Mm-hmm. So it's been about sourcing the not just the raw ingredients, but I know there's a lot that goes into market and brand and label. There's a lot to go into packaging, so you have to take all of that into account as you're going through that scale up that you talked about, going from that I've done 90 jars to 600. Is it about improving your efficiencies too, finding steps in your process that you know that you get a rhythm, for lack of a better term?
Yes, a rhythm.
Yeah.
That is very key. A rhythm is very key. So going into the kitchen, you have steps, you try to delegate who is going to do those steps and at what time. That helps you efficiently greatly. So when Quentin was talking about, the 90 jars that we started out with, we do the 600 jars in that same amount of time that we did the 90 jars. So it just took time, figuring out, and a lot of planning, figuring out how long is this step going to take to get to the next step? How long does it take to cool the jars? How long does it take to process the jars? How long does it take to fill the jars? How can we get the filling to be more efficient? So we had to learn how to do all of those things.
And I think what's great about the innovation is when we first came, we were using the old school home canners on the stove tops, and we were cooking from pots on the stove tops, and then
because that's what you knew and that's where you got your best.
Right, exactly. So when we once we started to figure some things out here and also talking to some of the other clients here, we learned, okay, we can use the steam kettles that are 12 gallons, and there's 2 of them, and we can use the tilt skillet to help with our canning. So, the batches just grew, and our time pretty much stayed the same. Because, here, time is money. It's cliche, but it really is.
But it is. You're paying for your space.
So, it's making the best use of that to make sure that our cost continues to stay down.
Sure.
And to be able to pass that on to our customers.
So as you've developed your business, and so you're also playing with the big boys, because you're in retail locations. You're in the commercial marketplace. That was your whole emphasis and goal to get there.
Yes.
What are some things that you've learned along the way as far as preserving your brand and even developing it so people recognize you? So it's one thing to get on the shelves, it's another to stay on the shelves. And you all have done a very good job of being able to stay focused and serve and continue to grow product here. Because you got six products or 6 SKUs or 7?
Right now, I think we're up to
25.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Wow, there we go. So
Yeah.
we have that.
Yeah.
Dragonfly is everywhere. That's awesome.
Which in itself is,
demanding.
something to keep in mind as we've grown is making sure, we love coming up with new products, but at the same time, we're not going too crazy with it because we want these things to actually go out. So, all of that is something we've thought about greatly is, a couple of things. One of the first things, first lessons I think we got, which was, making sure we don't outgrow ourselves in business, making sure that, as we go into, the smaller boutique, the smaller, locally owned stores, that we can actually keep up with what they're selling as well as the farmers market and the shows that we do and stuff like that. So we learned very quickly to make sure that we don't outgrow ourselves and not just, going national maybe is a goal, but at the same time, you have to be able to provide product to go national. So there's a lot to conquer in Kansas City, and that's what we're really focused on right now. So
is building that regional marketplace, building that name brand. You mentioned events and farmers markets, so it's kind of a 3-tier approach of making sure you're connected with, you're directly connected with your consumer. Then you can do events because that gives you that burst of brand. And then you've got place in the marketplace.
Right. And those events also help promote the store. So it helps us find new customers and then to get them to go to the store, take that next step after they finish their jar of pickles. Where do they want to go? We tell them, go to Olive Tree or go wherever, and that's what we try to do. So, and it's also doing tastings at those stores, promoting those stores, talking about how great those stores are to us, and we want to give that back to them as well to help bring them in new customers, which helps us.
That's really awesome. So we want to encourage our audience to go to Dragonfly Gourmet Foods Facebook page, like them. If you have any questions for us, you're very welcome to ask. And I apologize, I should have said this at the front of it. On Facebook Live, the great thing is it's supposed to be interactive, but a lot of times I kind of forget because I'm in the conversation here. You can ask us any questions at the Ennovation Center. Please go on Facebook Live or Facebook and like their page as well. Find them at one of the events at the farmers market, or buy their product, connect with the company. We really appreciate your time here today. We appreciate that you have put yourselves out there as entrepreneurs and business owners, because owning a small business and being all in on that is not easy. It's not easy work. I really appreciate something you said about planning and really thinking about your process. And so that sounds like that's a really large piece of what you have to do, especially as you're thinking of scaling to your marketplace.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, you just have to plan on, it's also about jars. You know, when we first started, we started very small, and we didn't know what to do on how to get the jars or the quantity of jars that we needed. So we learned, you know, if we order pallets, that saves us a lot of money. And then we can give that back to the customer. And then also we're not worried about like, oh no, we need to order jars by 2 weeks in order to fill these. And we keep them now, you know, empty jars, and we always have them on hand. That's another way to plan. So
it's planning for that, but as you said, not going overboard in that plan.
Right.
So you know what your capacities are, you know how to scale up as you go through. And you're able to really, again, focus on a really wonderful quality product that doesn't have the preservatives. It's a whole food. It's natural.
Yes.
Artisanal, however you want to label that.
Yeah.
But gourmet,
Right.
which is your middle name.
Yeah. I mean, I think we do a lot of planning and talking amongst ourselves as far as like, you know, what like we'll plan quite a bit ahead. Like, okay, this year we want to maybe start going into some of the bigger market grocery stores, and then finding which ones we want to go into, you know, what ones work best for us. You know, can you go into that store, you know, one store at a time before you say, okay, we want to go into, you know, all Price Shoppers or all Hy-Vees, you know. So for us, it's a lot of, we are really careful. I mean, we want to grow, and we want to grow a lot, but we want to also be careful that we're still, with the quality, you know, we're still going to provide the same awesome quality that we do now, and that we're never going to run out of stock on anything. You know, the store's never going to call us and say, you know, and we're not ever going to have to say, sorry, we don't have that in right now. So, I mean, those are kind of some key things that we focus on as far as growing and expanding our market.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, again, thank you so much today for being with us. Our next GoTo Biz Pro will be on the 11th and around 2 o'clock. And we'll be talking about risk management and really what you can put in place to protect your company, your small business, and how you can really focus on growing. So again, appreciate your time here today. Thanks for sharing a little bit more about Dragonfly Gourmet Foods. We want to encourage the audience to come in and just ask you questions, ask us questions on how to grow small business. And really, that's what it's all about. It's developing and encouraging entrepreneurs to get out there and grow. And we appreciate your dedication in doing that. And thanks so much. And thank you, audience. Thanks to WorksLab for letting us step in when there wasn't anybody scheduled to be in. We appreciate the time in the co-working space and the professional space here. And we'll talk to y'all next week.